who's actually going to get the most out of a tiny business-class desktop, and who would be better off putting their money toward a laptop or a full-size tower? Is the price justified for a typical office worker who just needs a reliable machine for email, spreadsheets, and occasional video calls? Those are the questions that keep most shoppers up at night, especially when the product is marketed with buzzwords like next-gen performance and future-ready connectivity. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'm going to walk through the real-world scenario that matters most: what it's like to set up, use, and maintain the Lenovo ThinkCentre Neo 50Q Gen 5 micro desktop day after day, and why you might decide it's the right fit or why you should walk away. First off, let's talk about the space factor. The ThinkCentre Neo 50Q is about the size of a small paperback, so it slides into a cramped cubicle, a home office nook, or even a conference room without taking up a full-size desk. That's a genuine advantage if you're juggling limited desk real estate or you want to keep the work area clutter-free. I've seen it sit on a shelf behind a printer while still staying cool enough that you don't hear any fan whirring. The trade-off, though, is that you lose the ability to upgrade the internals later. The memory and storage are soldered or use proprietary modules, so once you decide on the configuration at purchase, you're essentially locked in. If you anticipate needing more RAM for heavy multitasking or plan to add an extra SSD down the line, this could become a pain point. Performance-wise, the next-gen claim isn't just marketing fluff. The machine boots into Windows 11 Pro in under 10 seconds, and everyday apps like Microsoft Office, Chrome, and even light photo editing software launch almost instantly. That speed is a direct result of the integrated Intel 12th Gen Core processor and the fast NVMe storage that comes standard. In a typical office day, checking email, joining a Teams meeting, pulling up a spreadsheet, and printing a few reports, the desktop never feels like a bottleneck. However, you'll notice its limits if you try to run resource-hungry software such as 3D rendering tools, large data analysis workloads, or multiple virtual machines at once. It's not built for a power user who expects to crunch numbers in a data science lab. It's aimed squarely at the do-the-job-well segment. One of the biggest concerns for small business owners is security. Lenovo's ProGrade Security Suite includes a TPM 2.0 chip, BIOS protection, and remote management tools that integrate nicely with Microsoft Endpoint Manager. For a shop that needs to keep customer data safe but doesn't have a dedicated IT team, those built-in safeguards can save a lot of headaches. I've spoken with a few managers who appreciate being able to lock down the device with BitLocker and push updates remotely without having to touch each machine physically. The flip side is that the security features are locked behind the Windows 11 Pro license, which adds to the cost compared to a consumer-grade version. If you're a home user who doesn't need Domain Join or BitLocker, you're paying for capabilities you may never use. Connectivity is another area where the Neo 50Q tries to future-proof itself. It offers a mix of USB-C, USB-A, HDMI, and a couple of Ethernet ports, plus Wi-Fi 6E. In practice, that means you can plug a dual-monitor setup, a fast external SSD, a webcam, and still have a spare port for a USB-C hub without needing a dongle. The Ethernet port is especially handy for a stable office network, and the Wi-Fi 6E support ensures you won't be left behind as routers move to newer standards. The downside is that the ports are placed on the back of the tiny chassis, so you'll need a short power strip or a cable management solution to keep things tidy. In a cramped desk drawer, the cables can feel a bit cramped, which is something to think about if you're already dealing with a tangled mess of peripherals. Now, let's get into the practical day-to-day strengths. The most noticeable benefit is the quiet operation. Because there's no massive fan stack, the desktop stays virtually silent even when it's handling multiple office apps. That's a blessing in an open-plan office or a home where you're on conference calls. Background noise is virtually non-existent. The second strength is reliability. Lenovo's ThinkCentre line has a reputation for long-term stability, and the ProGrade label isn't just a buzzword. The machine has passed the usual MILSD tests for durability, so you can expect it to survive a few bumps, power spikes, and the occasional accidental unplug without throwing a fit. In my own test, after a week of continuous use running a spreadsheet, a video call, and a background backup, it still ran as cool as day one. On the flip side, there are a few practical weaknesses that show up once you live with the device. First, the lack of a dedicated graphics card means you're stuck with integrated graphics. If your workflow includes occasional video editing, Photoshop layers, or a second monitor with